Drones are revolutionizing the private investigations industry, but what do you need to know about their use? In this video, we'll explore everything in the world of drone surveillance, from benefits to risks, regulations, and ethics. We have all seen drones on TV shows like CSI, but how many people actually know what's behind those flying cameras? The increasing use of drones for recreational purposes is a global trend that has brought a new dimension to hobbies and leisure activities. This rise in popularity is driven by several factors, including advancements in technology, reduced costs, and the appeal of aerial perspectives. Drones today are equipped with features like high-resolution cameras, GPS, and stabilization technology that were often exclusive to very expensive professional-grade models. The cost of recreational drones has significantly decreased, making them more accessible to a broader range of consumers. Heck, you can find high-quality drones at various price points, often under $2,000 and many under $200. Drones offer unique vantage points for capturing stunning photos and videos of landscapes, events, and personal moments. Then there is the emerging sport of drone racing, which involves navigating drones at high speeds through challenging obstacle courses, which is quickly creating a vibrant community of competitive racers and enthusiasts. Now, many hobbyist drone enthusiasts enjoy freestyle flying. They just simply enjoy the experience of flying their drones, practicing minor maneuvers, and improving their piloting skills. This video is sponsored by OREP Insurance and Working PI Magazine. OREP is a leading provider of private investigator liability insurance. Visit orep.org for a quote today. Drones are also being used for education and exploration purposes. They are great for learning about aeronautics and exploring areas that are otherwise difficult to reach. Regardless of why you are using a drone, be it as a PI for surveillance or for personal enjoyment and entertainment, there are some serious considerations and challenges to keep in mind. As drone use grows, so do the concerns about safety and privacy. Regulatory bodies like the FAA have implemented rules for recreational flyers, as well as professional uses of drones, including restrictions on altitude, airspace, proximity to airports, people, and many other safety-related things. Understanding and adhering to these regulations, along with adopting the best practices for safe drone operation, are crucial for minimizing risks and maintaining responsible operation of your drone. The ability for drones to capture images and video just about anywhere raises concerns about individual privacy. And this has led many cities, states, and other jurisdictions to implement laws and ordinances to address these ever-growing privacy issues. Now, besides the recreational aspect of using drones, we need to also discuss the practical and potential uses of drones in the private investigations industry. From missing person cases, covert surveillance operations, and corporate espionage, drones are becoming more prevalent tools for private investigators, but at what cost? Let's take a deep dive into the legal boundaries, the complications, and the difficulties of using drones for surveillance. First, you do not want to get caught flying under the radar. You need to ensure that you fully understand all the FAA regulations. Ignorance, folks, is not a defense. If you are using drones in your investigations and are flying outside of the limits placed by the FAA, the risks include some hefty fines or even jail time. Drone surveillance also raises significant privacy concerns, which has led to various laws and regulations at both the federal and the state levels. These laws aim to balance the benefits of drone technology with the protection of an individual's rights to privacy. While the Federal Aviation Administration, the FAA, primarily regulates airspace and drone operation, it acknowledges privacy as outside its scope. This means that while the FAA can restrict where drones fly, it doesn't have direct authority over how the data collected by drones is used. But the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution protects against unreasonable searches and seizures. This principle is central to the debate surrounding drone surveillance, as it raises questions about what constitutes a search when drones are used to gather information, intel, and evidence. The Privacy Act of 1974 requires federal agencies to inform individuals about the purpose of collecting their personal information. And it can be easily argued that this principle can be applied to drone surveillance by ensuring transparency about how data is collected and used. I think these laws can also easily be applied to private investigators when conducting investigations using drones to obtain intel or evidence for their cases. Now, many states have also enacted laws officially addressing the use of drones, often focusing on areas like law enforcement use of drones, using drones for hunting and fishing, and restrictions on recording individuals in areas where they have a reasonable expectation of privacy, such as in their homes or their backyards. Here is something you probably didn't know regarding drone laws. About 1/3 of states today require law enforcement to obtain a warrant before using drones for surveillance. And there are trespassing laws we must address as well. Traditional trespassing laws can also be applied to drone use, particularly when a drone hovers at a low altitude over private property without permission. There are also regulations that may limit the types of data that can be collected by drones, the length of time the data is stored, and how that data can be used when it comes to evidentiary nature. There are huge things to keep in mind, too, as the technology of drones continues to evolve. As drones become smaller, more capable, and equipped with advanced sensors, facial recognition, infrared sensors, privacy regulations will surely start to address these emerging challenges. One of the biggest challenges for using them as a surveillance tool, though, is the growing awareness of drones in our culture. Now, we live in a rural area and we see drones all the time. How many times have you heard someone say, or you said this yourself, when you see something up in the sky, is that a drone or is that an airplane? Besides recreational purposes and the use of drones for law enforcement and other safety-related purposes, there are plenty of other professional industries that utilize drone technology today. Drones are used in the real estate business, the construction industry, for agricultural purposes. The energy sector also utilizes drones, and I have started reading about drones being used for delivery of goods to people's homes and businesses, which just blows my mind. While seeing drones has not yet become an everyday occurrence, it most likely will be in the not too distant future. And with all those drones flying around, it will bring about more privacy and safety concerns, to be sure. When it comes to private investigators using drones for surveillance, well, is it legal for them to use drones for gathering evidence? Many states have some very strict laws regarding the use of drones for surveillance. Texas, for instance, has regulations that prohibit the use of drones for surveillance without the subject's consent. Florida has some very stringent laws regarding the use of drones to prevent the invasion of privacy and to ensure ethical practices are maintained. A very notable legal case, California versus Corolla, has set some important precedents. I mentioned the Fourth Amendment before, which protects us from illegal searches and seizures. In the California versus Corolla case, it went something like this. The police were notified by an anonymous phone call that the respondent had an illegal marijuana grow in his backyard, which was enclosed with two fences, making the backyard not visible from the ground. The police had two officers who were trained in marijuana identification secure a private airplane, and they flew over the residence at 1,000 feet and were able to identify the marijuana plants in the backyard. With that intel, they were able to secure a search warrant based on the officers' naked eye observations, and a photo of the neighborhood that was taken from the airplane was also used as an exhibit. The warrant was then executed and the marijuana plants were seized. When the warrant was challenged by the respondent in court, the California trial court denied the motion to suppress the evidence of the search. Basically, the court stated that the Fourth Amendment was not violated by the naked eye aerial observations of the backyard. Now, this case was from 1986, obviously well before drones were a thing, but the precedent was set regarding use of aerial surveillance means. But what does that mean for private investigators conducting surveillance? One thing to consider is the fact that the plane was at 1,000 feet. It took aerial photos of the entire neighborhood, but most importantly, the police officers used their naked eye to identify the marijuana. When flying a drone, though, the limit set by the FAA is 400 feet. Given that, it could easily still be considered a privacy violation as it is much closer. California now also has the California Civil Code section 1708.8, which protects against drone invasion of privacy, which is something that was not in place back in the 80s. Georgia also has a similar code, 16-11-62, which makes it illegal to use drones for recording or observing people in private spaces where there is a reasonable expectation of privacy. Then there are the FAA regulations that limit the flight of drones, not only to 400 feet, but it must be within visual line of sight. So you have to be able to see the drone, and at 400 feet, well, you can't really go too far, especially in suburban areas with trees, buildings, and other obstacles that block your view. And if the other side can prove you violated any laws, codes, or regulations, it would be easy to have any evidence you gather thrown out of court. Not to mention, it could easily lead to criminal as well as civil litigation against you, the PI. But what about using a drone for mobile surveillance? Is that legal? Can a drone be used to follow someone around? This is one question I get asked a lot about, and there are several factors involved in this. And I will cover each of these factors. In fact, one of those most people never think about and are shocked when they hear about it. First off, FAA regulations do not allow drones to be flown over moving vehicles on roadways. This also applies to flying drones over people. In general, these regulations are safety regulations. If the drone stops functioning and falls to the ground or makes an emergency landing, it could cause harm to people or vehicles, which could cause an accident. Also, if a drone is flying over heavy traffic, it could easily cause distraction for the drivers and create a traffic hazard that way too. But the one big factor that is often overlooked by many people is the flight life of the drone itself. You see, most drones available to the general public, even those ones that cost $2,000 or $3,000, have batteries with very limited power capabilities. Most are going to be 20 to 30 minutes at best of flight time, but flight time doesn't just mean while it's in the air moving. Flight time actually starts from the time you start the motors, and it includes the initial takeoff time and the time to reaching altitude. And the biggest consideration of all is what I will refer to as 60% battery lifetime. You need to, at the very least, start bringing your drone back home when it is at 60% battery life to ensure it can make it home in time. If you wait until 50% and the drone hits headwind or some other factors come into play, it very well not make it back to you. Even at 60%, this is a thing to keep in mind. Most drones will have a preset limit, usually somewhere between 10% and 15%, where the drone just lands to ensure it does not fall out of the sky due to loss of power. So really, that 20-minute battery life will only allow you to follow someone for maybe 7 or 8 minutes. Now, if you are following them too, then it will be a bit longer as the drone can be brought down closer. But if you are following them too, then why are you using a drone? There are some potentially viable uses for drones for private investigators, and we will cover that in just a moment. Let me first say, though, in my humble opinion, drones play a very small role in surveillance when it comes to private investigators. Now, a PI might use a drone in a rural situation to see if vehicles are present at a rural location. A PI could stop a mile down the road and fly the drone to a nearby location where he could see on the screen if the vehicles are present or not at the location. And this would be fine as long as he's not looking over privacy fences and not flying over a road with traffic or pedestrians or other people and staying at or under that 400-foot mark. But there are two big obstacles the PI has to overcome in this scenario. First, the PI is using the drone in a commercial manner, meaning it is for business. So he must have a commercial drone certification to do it. Flying without that certification is, well, against the law. The next big hurdle, the PI has to think about what if the subject leaves while the drone is up in the air. It is going to be challenging enough for the drone to not be seen or not heard, for that matter, if you need to get very close. But if the subject leaves, well, you have to get your drone back to you without being seen yourself, land the drone, get the drone packed away before you conduct mobile surveillance. Not an easy task, I must say. Most drones are going to fly at a top speed of 20 to 30 miles per hour, and most people are going to be driving 50 to 60 miles per hour on a country road. So who wins the race? Now, if the subject is going away from you, that helps, but you still lose valuable time bringing the drone back to you, and you most likely will never be able to catch up to the subject. In the surveillance world, seconds lost can foil the entire surveillance. And in case you are thinking, well, I will do that early in the morning or late at night, just to confirm. Well, there are regulations limiting flying in the dark, and you would need a special permit to do that, and I doubt they will release that permit just for a PI to do surveillance. And your drone would have to have night vision or low lux camera on it to see things properly, which changes how you will see things while flying as well. Now, a PI might use a drone to get overhead photos or video of a location of an auto accident. He could just wait for the road to be clear of vehicles and pedestrians, then fly over, grab his footage, and get out. He could use it for an insurance claim, perhaps, to get a bird's eye view of a roof or fire damage to property, or for other things like that. There are some potentially legitimate reasons a PI could use a drone, to be sure, but regarding surveillance, I think the risk far outweighs the advantages.